Sending positive vibes to all truth seekers out there. In this episode, we're going to look at your beliefs and why your system of beliefs is holding you back from becoming as happy as possible and to land on truth. Okay? Do your beliefs connect with what is true? And how do you know that? How do you know for certain that your beliefs are connected to your truths, to what is true? Okay? Well, we have to think about where our beliefs come from. Okay, we've talked about society a lot. Your beliefs come from society. They come from your parents, your family, your friends, and the school system you grew up in. And the society you grew up in is a culmination of all the people around you that all tend to believe very similar things. There are a limited number of ideas to believe in, right? And a lot of us have not created new beliefs for ourselves that is more connected to truth than what society has to offer. So if you look at beliefs kind of like a buffet, there are a limited number of options. And what you want is to choose the most delicious beliefs to believe in. Okay? But how do you create your own? How can you create your own beliefs if they're just sitting at a buffet for you? Well, you have to go beyond, and you have to be a philosopher. You have to question all beliefs. You have to question the premise or the assumptions of every belief, of every single belief that you have coming from society. Okay, so let's use a couple of examples. Okay, for example, the belief that I have to go to my job. That belief, where does that belief come from? Okay, and what would happen if you question that belief? What would your ego do if you question that belief? Okay, you've probably actually exercised this belief in your mind before, right? You say, what would happen if I didn't go to my job? Well, how do you know what would happen if you didn't go to your job? How do you know for certain that it would be a bad thing? There's a kind of a large assumption that would be a negative, that would be an overall negative thing to do is by not going to work, okay? Because you say, well, I need the money. And I would ask you, well, got to play this exercise in your mind. Why do you need money? What is the point of that? Okay, and essentially what that leads to is that you're living in this economy. And you say, well, I have to believe this because I have to go to work and make money because I'm living in this economy. And then you have to question even that assumption. Why do you have to live in this economy? And you're saying, well, like, Kyle, that's kind of crazy. Why would I not live in this economy? This is where I'm from. And I would say, well, how do you know you are from here? How do you know you are from here? Well, I just am. I'm like, well, how do you know? And you say, what do you mean? And so I'm questioning the premise of all of your beliefs. Like even the idea that you are from a specific place. Or you say, well, I was born there. I would say, well, how do you know that you were born? How do you know for a fact that you were born? Right? Eventually, the floor that you're standing on. So belief systems are kind of like a foundation or a floor to stand on that don't really have a lot of structure to them, and that they can break very easily as soon as you question them, right? And what happens when you're standing on a floor and all of a sudden it opens up? Well, you start to fall and you try to grab something new, okay? So a belief like that you have to be making money in this economy to be a valuable, productive citizen of this society, you have to question that belief. And as soon as you question it, you're going to start falling. And the natural tendency is when you fall, it's very scary. Okay, I don't know if you've ever had this assumption or this experience. They're called holy crap moments. Holy crap! What I believe is not inherently true, right? What I believe is not reflective of what is truth. Okay, and for example, the idea of money. So then you have a holy crap moment and you fall, and now you try to like hold on to something new, and you try to land on, or you try to grab a rock to hold on to, or a branch, or a new floor, and the new floor is something deeper. Okay, like the belief that the physical world exists, like there's a truth in the physical world, that the physical world is something I can rely on. There's something I can depend on, the physical world, right? Probably, I don't know, maybe 90%, 95%, 99% of people live their life assuming that the physical world exists, right? Especially in a Western society. You grow up going to school and you are taught science. And the essence of science is to teach you and convince you that the physical world is something that you can believe is true. Okay? So when you take biology class, chemistry class, and physics class, they try to convince you of what is the essence of reality, and that it is physical. Okay? But if you keep going with science, you start to realize that science cannot explain what physical reality really is. Because you keep going, and eventually you're going to study quantum mechanics. And in quantum mechanics, it's about big, huge questions of what reality actually is. The question is, well, is reality essentially physical, or is it essentially immaterial, non-physical, right? So then you start seeing that, well, maybe if you keep going in science, you'll learn to question the premise that the physical reality is actually something I can believe at all. Okay, so then you start questioning that. And as soon as you start seeing that maybe reality is not physical, that is a really scary fall. It's a very, very scary fall for you. Is that the floor opens up and you start falling to the abyss. Okay, that abyss, that falling, is actually what truth is. The falling, the questioning of all things, okay, the questioning of all of reality is the falling, and that's what truth is, okay? Because anything that you land on, it depends on human concepts and depends on human language, okay? In the last episode on this channel, we discovered that the essence of human language is limits and limitations, and categorizing things and playing games and inventing fairy tales for humans to believe in because it's comfortable. And that is what your beliefs are fairy tales. You're believing in the fairy tales that society has convinced you of. Okay? So how do we go beyond those fairy tales? How can we keep going to land on truth, right? Because what you believe, you want to believe that your beliefs connect with truth. Okay? But we just discovered that all of your beliefs in like the physical reality even is an untrue belief. It's not founded on truth, it's founded on fairy tales. So why would you have an untrue belief? What is the purpose of having an untrue belief when your belief doesn't reflect reality? Okay? Well, what you want to do is you want to throw that belief in the garbage. You want to throw that belief in the garbage. As soon as you throw that belief in the garbage, you begin to fall towards the abyss. Okay? What is a bigger question than even questioning physical reality? Okay? Is you question that you exist. You question what you are. That is the biggie. That's the biggie, is questioning what you are in your essence. That is the biggest question of all. You begin to fall like no other. It's the scariest thing ever. It feels like you're dying. And that's where truth is going to emerge, is when your ego, yourself, and you are spiritually dying. You are spiritually falling to the abyss. But what you are doing is you're falling towards infinite truth. Okay? You're falling within infinite truth. The falling is infinite truth. That's what it is. Okay? As soon as you land on something, that is a human concept. Landing on and grabbing a rock or something to hold onto is a human concept that is not ultimately worth knowing because it's not true. Its essence is fairy tale. Okay? So literally everything, you have to question everything in your existence. Question everything. The idea that we are humans, you question that because the idea that we are humans was invented by human language. Humans invented for themselves that they are humans because it feels good to believe that you are a human. Okay? But the idea of human was created by humans through language, through fairy tales, through myth. So what we want to do is go beyond myth, even the myth of scientism. Okay? Not science. You want to question the belief that science can explain all things. Science cannot explain all things. Why? Because you have to look at the premise of science. The premise of science is that observers, human observers, can understand that the world out there can be trustworthy. That we can trust that the world out there, the outside world, is something that observers can figure out together. Okay? But the essence of science is only on the outside world. They're not questioning how do observers get to the outside world, which is our five senses. Science doesn't question the validity of our five senses, and especially does not question the validity of the observer, or what the observer even is. So when we look at science, scientists don't look at themselves, they don't look at the scientist. So how can the scientist figure out what is going on in the outside world? Okay? It's because the assumption is that the outside world is something that we can know, or even exists, or is even true. Okay? How do you know that you're not living in a complete virtual reality? How do you know that this reality, this physical world, is not just another dream? How do you know that for certain? Right? We can't know that for certain. We have to wake up and see that perhaps this physical world is a complete dream. Okay? So it leads to the falling. It leads to the floor opening up like an earthquake, like the San Andreas Fault. So you question your belief, and then all of a sudden the San Andreas Fault opens up and you fall towards the middle of the earth. Okay? And that is what truth is. You cannot explain that feeling through human words. Human concepts are only going to be about ideas and language that their essence is limit. The essence is limitation. Okay? What you want is unlimited infinity. That is what truth is, and you have to question all things. Question all things, always. Okay? You have to say why to all things, then you have to say why again. You have to say why again until you become silent. Okay? You have to question what is reality, and you stay at the question. You have to stay at the question, not the answer. Do not answer what is reality. You stay at just the question, because the question, the nature of a question is silence. If you don't answer the question, it is complete silence and infinity. And that is what we are ultimately want. That maybe you don't realize this yet, because a lot of people believe that they are their egos. They still believe that they are their thoughts. But once you relinquish, once you get rid of the desire for being a thought, you start realizing that your deepest desire in all of existence is to become more conscious and more aware of reality. And when you have belief systems, those are like barriers. All belief systems, all beliefs are barriers from you realizing your true self and realizing that your true self is infinity. So your true self is falling to the abyss that is infinity. And we reach this through silence, stillness, inner peace, breathing, and just existing as you are. Thank you so much. Peace.